In today's episode, Tyler Hagen, a longtime home brewer, coffee content creator, and a passionate voice in specialty coffee.
You don't need to have $5,000, $10,000 pieces of a kit to make great content. You just need to love it. And I filmed content of literally just shooting up at my portafilter and just slow-moing an espresso shot. And it went viral. It hit like 500,000 views or something stupid like that. But being in Origin absolutely changed me.
Welcome to By the Drip, the channel about the people behind the coffee and the passion that fuels it. We're two brothers who spent our lives chasing something deeper than just great coffee. From walking farms in remote corners of the world to training and coaching the last two world barista champions. I'm David Crosby, founder of Rosso Coffee Roasters, the roaster behind back-to-back world champion wins. And I'm with my brother, Cole Terode, founder of Forward Coffee, sourcing some of the most inspiring coffees from Panama and building lasting relationships at Origin. This isn't just a channel about coffee, it's about community, an obsession, and the pursuit of excellence. One cup, one story, one coffee at a time. Tyler, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, thank you.
I'm super excited to get into content creation, coffee influencer, all the things that you do, but I want to go back to the very start. We always got to go to the beginning.
Yep.
How did you get into specialty coffee?
That's a great question. So grew up in Vancouver. And so for me, growing up in Vancouver, spent the first 30 years of my life out there. Coffee was always around. Didn't have kind of any experience in specialty, but it was just always there. Drinking old world Italian cappuccinos at restaurants with my dad and all of those kind of things just began to kind of introduce me into coffee. But it was never something I really did at home. It was always something that I went out to. So cafe culture, Vancouver, it was always around. It was always there. So connecting with friends and all of that really began to kind of introduce me to specialty coffee, but I didn't really know it was specialty. I remember a couple of cafes in the Tri-Cities had 49th Parallel and didn't know really what that was at the time, but I knew I liked it. Okay. And it was good. But that was really kind of my only experience in Vancouver, kind of beginning to recognize what is kind of specialty coffee in those kind of, this is, 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, we're going way back.
So
then.
we're going way back. Yeah,
okay.
This is. I'm dating myself right now, and that's okay. The gray hair does not do it enough, maybe, but like that's me dating myself, right? So that was kind of an initial exploration into what is a good coffee. And then fast forward a few more years, my wife and I got married, and we actually moved out to Alberta and to a small town. So we weren't living in Calgary at the time. And I had left everything behind of Vancouver, all the cafe culture, everything I kind of took for granted. And we moved to this kind of small town outside of Lethbridge, and there's nothing. Like there's Tim's.
Okay,
right?
No coffee.
No coffee culture really in that kind of Lethbridge area at the time. It's Tim Hortons or bust.
Okay.
And I kind of have this like existential crisis. I'm like, what have I just gotten myself into? What am I doing out here? It's near where my wife grew up and her family and all that kind of stuff, but there was nothing. And so I started kind of panicking and then kind of pivoting and being like, okay, if I can't go out for coffee like I used to, what's out there? Okay. And so I did.
And what you mean by what's out there is like, how am I going to start brewing at home?
Yeah, how am I going to get this? Because I can't go anywhere for it, so I'm going to have to figure out what to do, in my kitchen, I guess. And so, I did what anyone else does, is just Google. Right. And so I got on Google and I started looking around to see, okay, what is out there? What companies ship coffee? What is, around? And so, a few kind of months of just kind of looking and searching and finding a few things. And then around that time, a good friend of mine actually moved to that same city. Okay. And got a job at Best Buy.
Okay.
And a light bulb moment went off where I was like, oh, hey, you guys sell Breville Barista Expresses, don't you? Right? That's the gateway specialty coffee. Like that's the machine for anyone, it feels like, who gets into specialty coffee is a Breville Barista Express. And so I said, hey, can you get me one with your employee discount? I'm like, just don't tell your boss. Yeah. And he did. And that was my kind of foray into beginning to think, okay, how am I going to replicate that cafe experience at home? How am I going to begin to brew specialty coffee at home for my own enjoyment? Because there's no other option.
what was the gap of coffee? Were you drinking Tim's at the time?
I mean, I think probably Kicking Horse.
Okay,
might
yes.
have been that.
And what year
bridge.
would this? What would year?
Oh man, this would have been 15 years ago now.
Okay.
So 2010.
Okay.
2011.
Okay.
And so even some of the more Starbucksy specialty kind of options, thinking that was
Right.
good. But yeah, it was probably like Kicking Horse, like the kick-ass blend, and stuff like that, thinking like this is the pinnacle of me at home doing coffee. And so again, started on Google, started looking around stuff. My wife and I did a trip to Costa Rica around that time. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay. Getting a little bit of a feel of specialty coffee, being in an origin country. Didn't do anything with coffee there, but again, it kind of reignited this understanding that there's more out there.
Okay, so you order this machine, and how much is this machine?
I mean, what was it back then?
$200?
Like $500? Like not even.
Okay.
And just started. So I found this roaster out of Ontario called Social Coffee.
Yeah.
And they had 2 bags, I think, free shipping over $25.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, boom, that's it. 2 bags kind of every month. I made my own subscription.
Okay.
And I just started bringing it in and just started figuring it out. There really wasn't anything resource wise. I mean, content creators, influencers, like no one was doing that 15 plus years ago, really. It was just, I mean, Mark Prince with Coffee Geek was probably one of the only sites around that you could kind of like get knowledge from. So I remember reading, blog posts and information from Mark, being a Vancouver guy. And so that was it. That was kind of headlong into figuring out how to make this stuff at home because there ain't nowhere else to go.
It's such a funny time reminiscing 2000, well, I started in 7 to probably 2012, 13.
Yep.
There was no resources.
No.
There were very, very few, or it was like on coffee forums.
Yep.
Which most people under 25
Don't
have
a
no
clue.
idea.
Yeah, like I said, Coffee Geek was really it. Like
Yeah.
Mark was the trendsetter in trying to curate some kind of educational piece for people.
Okay, so you got this machine. What grinder, or does it come with
It comes, right? It's all in one. I mean, that's the magic of the Revel Barista Express is it's all in one, so you don't have to think. And I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you can't really dial in. I'm pulling feels like turbo shots, and that wasn't a thing back then, right?
Okay.
But it was something. I mean, it was starting at least to recognize the use of good coffee.
And then where did the journey kind of lead you to? So how do we go from that all the way to content creator?
Totally. So I lasted 4 years in that small town. I'm a Vancouver, BC boy coming to small town Alberta. Didn't have a clue what a combine or an auger was, right? Like this is so I'm a fish out of water, and it was small towns are wonderful, great people. Loved my experience, but after 4 years, it was like, no, this is it. And so my wife and I moved to Calgary, and that was that was the awakening. That was okay. I mean, Rosso, you were already leading, the kind of the charge of specialty coffee out here. Phil and Sebastian was starting to really kind of ramp up at that point. I remember after a couple of years, the boys from Monogram doing their first pop-up in a bike shop kind of down on 10th Ave and stopping by to that. And all of a sudden, this desert of nothing became this like oasis of like, there's everything available. All of this coffee is here. And I was hooked.
Calgary is so underrated on the quality of coffee. Like we get to travel a lot.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, what's your top coffee city? Mm-hmm. And I always put Calgary in, top 5, top 10.
Absolutely.
For sure, because all those roasters.
Yeah.
And then there's Sun Fountain. You got so many just across the board that are doing such an outstanding job.
Yeah.
That we're very lucky to be here.
It gives me goosebumps just thinking of just what is available here and coming to a city like this and then the coffee community really embracing me. I remember, like I said, hitting that pop-up for the boys at Monogram that very first time and just hanging out and talking to them and our relationship connection over all these years, getting to do stuff together, it really did welcome me in, and that relationship with the people behind the companies really just set me on that path of like, okay, like this is definitely the right city. This is definitely the right time. And I want to kind of go, as far down that rabbit hole as possible.
So did you think you were going to join the industry and become a professional, or did you?
Great question.
Where did you see your role kind of as you're discovering wow, I really have a passion for specialty coffee?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a storyteller by nature. I love story. I love people. I love being able to tell people stories and get to know them. And so early on in my time here in Calgary, I remember just starting to get to know people. And I didn't really know if I would get into specialty coffee, but I knew I wanted to be a part of this community. I knew that there was something special here, and I felt that embrace, from the get-go. So it's well, if it's not going to be working in coffee, if it's not going to be in a company at some point, I've got to be as far into this as I can be. And what is that going to look like? And so I remember connecting with people. It was the team from Rooftop out of Fernie.
Okay.
So Keegan, his mom, Sarah, I remember we were talking back and forth one day because my grandpa used to live in Fernie. So I was oh, that's a cool city. Maybe I should get to know what's going on there. And they came to Calgary, went and met up at Sought and Found one day. And we were just kind of chatting. This was well before the pandemic, well before the kind of content creator influencer thing really blew up. And I remember just talking to them and be you guys got a really kind of neat story. Keegan's story of rooftop, roasting on a rooftop, and this 16, 17-year-old kid kind of getting into this. I was this is cool. This is really neat. And I said, I'd love to maybe can I tell your story somehow?
Yeah.
And they're yeah, what does that mean? I'm well, I don't know. And we kind of just figured it out. But I said, if you're willing to let me tell your story, I'll just pump your tires. I'll get it out there. I'll do whatever it can. And that kind of really was the light bulb moment for me, where this whole kind of commonly coffee. It used to be the Bloom.coffee. I mean, that's that's going way back into trying to figure out a cool brand, and then Instagram, some reason, absolutely shut it down. They locked me out. That's another story. But so I had to pivot, and that was fine. But that was kind of the beginning of recognizing people have cool stories, and they want to be able to get it out there. And if I can be that vehicle to share those, that's gonna kind of win their trust and create lifelong friendships where, it's about the people.
Okay, let's go back. What's your home setup like at this time?
Okay.
I feel we got to kind of keep bouncing back and forth between the two.
It's good. So way back then, I mean, I bounced between, went from the Barista Express, then went to the dual boiler.
Okay.
Because that was it back then. That was the big deal.
That was the big upgrade.
So I had the Breville dual boiler. I had the Baratza Encore.
Okay. Yes.
All the OG classic pieces of brew gear.
Yeah.
And so I had that. That was actually, and we can maybe get to it, but that was a prize from winning a regional AeroPress qualifier.
Oh, really?
So that's a story if we want to go there. But yeah, so I had the dual boiler, Baratza Encore, Bonavita kettle.
Yeah.
And so, all of this dates me. Oh man. But that was the setup, and the Sete, the Baratza Sete 270.
Yep. Okay.
So all in with Baratza at that point, I guess, but that was the pinnacle for me of home coffee.
It's funny to kind of reminisce, because there's brands that pop up during a certain time.
Totally. And
their equipment kind of trends.
Yep.
And then it's tough for them to kind of keep it more than 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And so Breville's done a great job. They've Baratza, we kind of saw it, everyone had it. Now it's not as much. And
it's an interesting journey to see, what was the it company, the brand, the product. And the Encore has been around forever. I think everyone has one or has had one.
Yes, everyone's had one.
Who are you if you haven't? Are you really into specialty coffee if you didn't have an Encore at some point on your bar? I just don't think you can't.
Okay, so you meet Keegan.
Yep.
And you're thinking about this idea. How do you kind of action on this idea?
Yeah.
Because I think now a lot of people, fast forward to now, coffee influencer, big followings. How do we, kind of thread the needle there to where you are now?
Yeah. So, at that point, I kind of launched into the blogosphere because that was the thing. And again, that was the medium back then for sure. I mean, short form or long form YouTube content wasn't really as prevalent in the coffee space at that point. And so the blog was really it. And that was, like I said, I love storytelling. I love writing. And so for me, that was a way of scratching a creative itch. And so that kind of launched into this, coffee roaster of the month that I've done every month for over 5 years straight. I've never missed a month.
Really?
In 5 years on my blog. There has always been a coffee roaster whose story I share. And that has just been something I've loved to do. And so that was it. I kind of pitched that to Hagen and his mom, and I said, I'd love to share your story, share about your coffee, take some pictures, and kind of begin to really, see this become something. And so we did, and it went great, and it created a really neat relationship where, I've driven out there, I think every summer just for the day to kind of hang out and drink coffee and get to know them. And they've become kind of great friends. But at that point, Instagram was a bit of a thing. I didn't have like a coffee account at that point yet. I just had my home profile.
Okay.
And I started snapping so many pictures of coffee content that a few of my friends actually were concerned because they're like, we don't see any pictures of your family anymore. How's your marriage? Like, what's up with your kids? Because I just was all into this coffee thing, and I slowly started drifting away from posting about my own family. And so people were like, hey, Ty, what's up? And I'm like, didn't even think about that.
Right.
So that was another thing that kind of got me thinking, okay, maybe it's time to kind of get a little bit more professional about this and do something, brand it, create actual profiles, blog, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, so that I can have that outlet to be able to share those stories and not have people concerned, about the lack of stuff about my kids and my wife and all that kind of stuff going on. And so that story with kind of Rooftop and all of that kind of was the genesis of really going all in with this kind of content creation. And that was pre-pandemic. That was probably about a year and a half, 2 years maybe even before that really kind of snapped for everyone, and you started seeing this kind of become prolific.
Okay. If you went back in time and could talk to yourself then, what pieces of advice would you have given yourself?
Yeah, that's good.
On the content creation side, on growing the blog?
Yeah. I think I would have loved to have jumped into video earlier.
Okay.
I think that was never a skill set I really had. It was always, like I said, kind of the story and the craft of word and language. And so I definitely, knowing how much YouTube has shaped the coffee community, if I had the opportunity back then to really begin learning that at that stage, even pre-COVID, I think that could have helped. There could have been growth from that. I'm not upset with where I'm at, but I know it could have been a good thing. And it's a skill set that I think, is just invaluable these days, to be able to understand that. I could probably have my kids do it now for me. They're 14 and 16. So, they could probably do all of this and their old man just kind of reaps the rewards. But,
right.
But I would have loved to have done that. I would have loved to have been invested into that skill set. But really, I'm thankful that I always put people before products, and that my focus was not like gear reviews. Not that they're bad; that's a huge, invaluable piece of the coffee space to be able to help people know what's out there and what will help them to brew better coffee, and to be able to give them that opportunity to have that great cafe experience in their kitchen. But I'm glad that the emphasis was always people first and their story, and so yeah.
So is it difficult to manage that and know your lane and know your target market and know who's interested? Are you trying to go to them, or are you saying, this is my voice, take it or leave it?
That's a good question. It's probably a little bit of both. I love what I do. And to me, there was that season where I think everyone felt the crush of I gotta grow. I gotta get, I remember, 10K was the big thing on Instagram during the pandemic. Once you hit 10K, you were arrived.
Right.
And then it was, okay, 25K, all, 100K, whatever. Numbers have never really meant much. Numbers are people. And so those people are people I want to connect with and to be able to get to know. But I'm comfortable staying in my lane. And even with where I'm at with followers, with all that, I don't think it's hindered my ability to develop deeper relationships and to connect with people. I think I would rather focus on quality than quantity sometimes, and to really get to, like I said, to get to know the story and to get to know the people, and to be able to honor that and hold that up. And if that creates greater depth, people see that in me. I think they recognize that I'm not here just to be a flash in the pan or to really just get as many things and stuff or gear or followers as possible, but rather to be in community and to have depth in that. And if that is the end result for me, I mean, I think that's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. How can you manage, I guess, expectations of, growth, expectations of, am I doing the right thing? The expectations of, I don't know. Influencer is tough because a lot of people can see the numbers and they chalk that up to something.
Totally.
And we're trying to grow our channel. And man, it is so difficult.
It's a slog.
It's a slog. And you kind of question, we question as, okay, what content is going to resonate with people?
Yeah.
While at the same time, it's content that we enjoy producing, because we don't want to do reviews on equipment. That's not for us. We're not those people.
Yep. I think, being true to yourself and loving what you do, is recognized by your people who watch your content. And if you are genuine and you actually are having fun in what you're doing, and I think that is valuable. I mean, how do you quantify, the joy that this kind of brings and the people that you get to connect with and the relationships you get to forge? I mean, those are harder metrics and it is a slog. But you never know when something also is going to go viral. You never know when one clip or one thing, and you can't control that. If you're working for the algorithm's going to own you. And if you're trying to create that clickbaity or that hype piece, I remember years ago, it was like Christmas time, and I filmed content of literally just shooting up at my portafilter and just slow-moing an espresso shot. And I used some holiday music to a slow-mo that I filmed on my iPhone, and it went viral.
Oh, wow.
It hit 500,000 views or something stupid like that. And nothing ever again went viral to that capacity.
Right.
But I didn't try that. It happened without any control of myself. It got me a ton of followers. It grew my account, but I wasn't trying to work for the virality of that post. I just was like, hey, it's Christmas. Let's get some, I think it was a Run DMC Christmas in Hollis or whatever, throw that in with a drippy shot and boom, So that wasn't the goal, was virality. It was just having fun and enjoying what I do. And I think if you stay in that lane and you do that with what you've done with this, I think I've watched almost every single one of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's what I love. It's the story of people, and it's getting to know that. And so for you, as you do this, I think that's the most important thing, is just enjoying what you do. The people will see that.
Yeah.
And that is a huge win at the end of the day. And that's what drives me. It's being able to just do what I love, and I think that resonates with those who follow me. And
the storytelling you do is really impactful, because I think a lot of people don't go down that lane. It's very easy to, not easy, but it's reviews or equipment or, just tasting coffee. That's where most of the segment is.
Yep.
Where you're kind of, you're staying to your side, which has helped you grow and have your voice has increased significantly because of that.
And I love that other people do other stuff, and that's the thing. I think the specialty coffee community is big enough for all of that.
Yeah.
It's wide enough to handle all of that, content. And you can see the success of some of the great content creators out there who have gone, all in to doing this, full time, who have just maybe they're a lot younger than me, so life doesn't have circumstances where like, I've got a kid who's, busy 5 nights a week in soccer. So, like I'm an Uber basically, like that's my day job. It feels like, but if you have the ability to go all into that, the coffee community is better off because of it. But I think it's the sum of the voices that makes the coffee community a great place, not just the individual pieces.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Okay, we're bouncing around a bit. Let's go back. So you've launched the blog.
Okay.
You're on Instagram. You're doing your own personal. You got the professional.
Yeah.
How do you start? How do you kind of, if someone's watching or listening, what's some pieces of advice on, I want to be a coffee content creator.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Do it. I mean, it may seem simple, but do it. If you love this, do it. I think you have to love this, and it has to be a passion. It can't be so that, again, you can get the stuff. And so it doesn't matter. I mean, I started this with nothing fancy. And so it wasn't having all the right gear first to then be able to take sexy shots of, bottomless portafilter, like that can come. But you don't need the Linea Mini on your bar. You don't need, a Weber EG1. You don't need to have $5,000, $10,000 pieces of a kit to make great content. You just need to love it. And so I create all my content on an iPhone.
Sweet.
I have never owned anything other than an iPhone. So 5, 6, 7 years now of content creation, just a phone.
Wow.
So I mean, has that held me back? Maybe, but I don't think I am worse off either. And so you don't need a lot. You literally just need a phone and a couple of minutes a day and do what you do and create your brand, if that's it, be your voice, your unique focus, and just have some fun. And it's not like you need, all this kit.
Yeah, you got to get off zero. You got to just start. So many people are like theorizing. They're, telling themselves they're going to do it when they get this done first. I'm going to get this piece of equipment, and then it'll lead to lots of people watching. And it's no, it won't.
Yeah, or don't even. I mean, you just be that person who goes out and films stuff at cafes. Like you don't even need your own stuff if you want to be able to help. I mean, that's what go to a cafe and take some great content at their cafe. Tag them in it, like bless them. Like go to a cafe, take some great content, tag them in it, and share their story. And I don't know any specialty coffee roaster, any cafe like in Calgary elsewhere who doesn't love people loving them. And so it doesn't even need to be all at home. You can go out to great places and help show what they're doing, and that will create content for yourself, but also collaborate well with other companies.
What about the dark side of social media influencer and brand collaborations?
Yeah,
give us.
Yeah, all right. The underbelly of specialty coffee. I mean, it is a slog. It is a grind. There are days where you put in hours of work into creating content and it absolutely flops. Okay, you need a bit of a thick skin to do this, because again, if you're working with people, that can often be a challenge. But again, you got to check your ego at the door, because again, that clip I talk about with some Christmas music and a bottomless portafilter shot got 500,000 views. And then I can put a behind the scenes content creation piece, or I can do a hey, get to know this roaster kind of story, and it doesn't get anywhere near the metrics. And that sucks. Like that really can get under your skin if you think I've put all this time in. And that, the metrics of the likes and the shares and all of that can be detrimental to your mental well-being. Oh, wow. If you live off that, if that's what feeds your engine of content creation is, am I getting to X in terms of those metrics?
So the emotional up and down and the feedback from that can just lead you down like a dark
Yeah, or like comments. I mean, I think this is maybe the saving grace of not being on YouTube, but for all my friends who are on YouTube, and you guys have got some of this, I'm sure, like, man, the keyboard warriors who are out there just absolutely just hating on the comment section. You don't get as much like in Instagram, so maybe that's what keeps me away from YouTube. But I have seen just vitriol, like just bad stuff, and it's like, wow, like calm down. And that's
just coffee.
It is, I guess, and everyone's got their opinion, whatever, that's fine. But that I think can be some of the challenge. And again, the comparison game. You know, the community is incredible. I love my fellow content creators and getting to connect with them, getting to meet them, getting to hang out at like Special Coffee Expo and those kind of things are a gift, because you realize that they're just people having fun too. But you'll hear some of the dark side of the comparison game and the trap of feeling like I need to be like James Hoffman. You know, I need to be like Lance Hedrick, like the gods of the content creation industry who are legends by themselves, and they've worked hard to get there.
Okay, we talked about comparison.
Yeah.
We got the OG, million plus subscribers. We got James. Yeah. We got Lance.
Right.
Who are some other content creators that not everyone's going to know that are, I don't know, your favorite top 5, dead or alive?
Okay. Love it. No, great stuff. I mean, straight up, Canada has, I think, the most incredible content creator community. And I hear that when I go down to the States. I hear that from people who are like, you're in Canada? Like, everyone's in Canada. Like, all of you are like, all of y'all. So it tells you who I'm talking to, right? Like, they're like, you're all in Canada and you're so nice. I'm like, yeah. There are so many who I have, journeyed with, and that was a terrible pun. Like, Journey is a great guy. I've really appreciated his just, again, he stays in his lane. He creates incredible content, beautiful photography, and it's just amazing to see, the growth there. I mean,
you don't need to list 5. If you need 3, then we just go
okay.
through.
Kyle Rossell, I mean, an incredible guy who, journeyed from, starting this up in his basement, content creation to now, an absolute gift to the specialty coffee community in terms of the coffee he roasts and what's going on there in Ottawa. Really just cool to see the growth that he has had, over all those years. Caitlin, so out in Toronto, she has done an incredible work again on TikTok. And her, I mean, Street Brews, the coffee she roasts and the content she creates. You cannot find a more positive human being in this world than Caitlin. She's absolutely incredible. And so, getting to connect with her. I'm trying to think of others. I mean, there's so many, like I said, in the Canadian coffee space. Josh, Brew Coffee Better. And I'm trying to think of others.
Who's your rival?
Who's my rival? Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah, you take a long swig there. You
that's it, right?
Not in a bad way, in a good way. Like you're going, head to head with this person. Who is a friendly rival?
Who are my frenemies in the coffee space? Oh man, that's fun. Yeah, I mean, I'll give props to Josh at Brew Coffee Better. We got about similar kind of coffee numbers in terms of like followers. We both don't do this full time. We both have pretty, great home coffee setups. But it's just something we do for fun. And I've always admired and appreciated his growth and his genuineness in this, that again, like he just enjoys what he does. And I kind of feel like at the end of the day, he's like, this is me, this is what I do. So, I mean, rival in the sense that we're kind of similar in kind of what we do and how we do it. But I'd say frenemy, because at the end of the day, like I admire him as much as I see us just kind of having that same kind of trajectory. I mean, he even used to do a roaster focus on his blog years ago.
Oh, funny.
So and stopped for whatever reason, but that's all good. But maybe that was to my benefit. But just, I think we were very similar in terms of what we were hoping to achieve and accomplish. And, one of the few guys I haven't met yet in person in the Canadian coffee scene. So I hope that changes one day, because he's just a great guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
The pandemic.
Yep.
home coffee brewing
Oh
just
my goodness.
explodes.
Boom.
And that's like a big focus for you, not only telling, roaster stories, but it's taking people on a journey through your home coffee journey. Mm-hmm. What did that do for you? What happened, that, I guess, year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah. How long was it? I mean, what it did is, it was an instant catalyst to this kind of space. I mean, like I said, I was doing it a few years before. And so all of a sudden I looked at that and I'm like, oh, this is kind of a natural fit that people are wanting to learn more and to grow more. And I'm already in that space. Others who are kind of doing it like low key in the shadows or not really publicly, all of a sudden, kind of pivoted to making content and to getting onto the social platforms and all of that. But to me, it was a gift in that sense. It forced me to hone my craft and to learn more because you couldn't go anywhere and do anything. Right. But I think what it really did was it drew the coffee community together. We had to rally. We had to pivot. We had to really focus in on what we're doing and supporting each other. That's really, again, I did a lot more work focusing on, Canadian coffee roasters in that season, because I knew that their livelihood depended on it. We were all scrambling. We were all trying to figure out how do we continue to keep people employed, to keep our employees, on our teams, to be able to still sell product and get coffee into the hands of people. And so I kind of felt that kind of responsibility of like, I need to do whatever I can to support this city, the coffee community of Calgary and Canada at large, because really like our livelihood depends on it.
No, there's so many content creators that helped support. I can think of you, 8 Ouncers, tons of people out there that just went internal to, hey, go buy coffee at your local roaster, support them as much as possible because of what was going on at that time. Yeah. So at this time, what's your home setup like? Has it changed much?
Yeah, now, like
no. Well,
in COVID pandemic time, at that point, that was when the collaboration boom went crazy. Okay. So pandemic, just in that time and just a little bit out of it, I had some stupid, crazy gear end up at my house.
Oh, really?
I had a Victoria Arduino Eagle One Prima for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So, to go from the Barista Express years to a Victoria Arduino Eagle One Prima, it's a $10,000 machine.
Right.
It's a car.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even pay that for my car. And it's on my bar now for, a 2-year collaboration that I had with a company here in Calgary.
Sweet.
And so like stupid stuff like that starts showing up for the opportunity to collaborate. I had, the niche arrive, kind of that was the grinder of the pandemic. If you could get a niche 0, it was end game. And I love it still. It's a great grinder. So, you got Eagle and Prima, you got niche 0. I got like a ratio 6 and then a ratio 8 on my bar doing all my batch brew. Fellow is on the scene now. So Stag EKG, O-Gen 2, all of that. It's
how much coffee are you drinking a day with all this equipment?
I know, right?
Are you making 1 cup or are you making 50?
Oh man. I'll batch brew a liter in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. That just,
between you and your wife?
No, so that's the thing. I'm the only one in my house who drinks coffee.
Oh my goodness.
So there it is. That's the spoiler alert. So my wife doesn't drink coffee.
And you're hammering a liter.
I will often brew a liter on a ratio 6. I'll have half of it in the morning at the breakfast table. Yeah. I'll take the rest of it with me for the day. Yeah. And I am just like chill. I think I have an incredible caffeine tolerance. Okay. And so I'm not like wigging out by like 11 a.m. or maybe it's because I just keep caffeinated so I don't ever have the crash.
Right.
But I can brew insane amounts of coffee.
And then what, on weekends are you doing?
Weekends, a lot of Spro. That's really where I have fun is until weekends with either, more unique varietals, more fun coffees or really getting into espresso. But most days I'm a batch brew guy in the morning.
Sweet.
And that just is something I've always loved. I appreciate the ratio machines, and so it's just what works for me. But
I love the liter. I love the full liter.
Just go. I'm all in. Yeah.
What's the dose on that?
What is it? 60 grams?
Yeah,
Isn't
I
that the
guess,
James
okay.
Hoffman
Yeah,
62
yeah,
a liter
yeah.
kind of is what he always recommends. So I might as well stay with that.
What would be some of the top coffees you've ever had in your life? Do you have a list, like top 3 maybe?
Oh man. I mean, that has been probably one of the neatest, most incredible gifts is getting to experience, like,
I guess you get sent. Do you get sent?
coffee arrives often. I was going to say daily, but that might be not far of a stretch, but,
Wow, really?
but often. And again, I so appreciate the incredible generosity of the specialty coffee community in sharing their craft. And so my commitment is always, I will say thank you. I will snap a photo. I will put that on my stories. I will always, always, always say thank you. If I don't do that, I think it's game over for me.
Right.
But I have had some absolute bangers in my life, and that is what keeps me going, because you're like, how is that coffee? I remember here in Calgary at Euphoria Cafe in the Northwest. Matt's an incredible guy there. He shared with me, it was years ago now, but it was from Rosso.
Okay,
and it was, I think it was like a lactic processed Cedra. It was grape candy.
It was probably from, was it 2019? Like La Palma?
Yeah, it might have been, I think it was La Palma.
Yeah. Okay. So from
It was-
Colombia. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was like grape Jolly Rancher for days, and it was, I think, $100 bag of coffee, and it was like 4 ounces or something stupid like that. And that just set my world on fire. Like, that was really when I began to experience like just end game coffees. And that was one of them. And I know it's Rosso, and I know we're here, right? But that was one of the most amazing coffees I've ever had. I will say I have dabbled in the co-ferment world, and I love it. So I am of that dispensation.
Sweet.
I absolutely make Worth Coffee Roasters out of Bellingham, Washington. Shout out to them. Last summer, I dragged my wife on our anniversary to their cafe. We did other stuff afterwards, but I told her I needed one coffee shop visit. Because we were in Vancouver visiting my folks, drove down, and they're an incredible roaster. They had a watermelon co-ferment.
Oh, cool.
Just amazing. Just so good. And they shared a little bit of a bag with me, and
Nice.
that one, again, just that was what awakened me to that world of what co-ferment coffee can be like. And so that one was just, like I said, an absolute game changer. And then I was invited here in Calgary last year to Phil and Sebastian to have their Best of Panama number 2.
Okay.
So Seb brewed that for me.
Oh, wow.
And that was $100 cup of coffee.
It was Finco Sofia?
It was Finca Sofia. Yeah. And so I think they brought in like 1 kg of that and roasted it all. I think it was on an Akawa, and it was just like, $100 for a cup. And I think that was cost for them. That wasn't even like Seb's time with me for an hour sharing the story.
Wow.
And that wasn't like a crazy coffee, but it was the most beautiful form of what a wash geisha should be. Like, that was that beautiful clarity of stone fruit, kind of peach, flower, iced tea. Just, it was so classic, perfect. It didn't it wasn't a crazy co-ferment, but it was exactly what you would want from that kind of wash geisha. And I was like, wow, okay,
there's something about that experience too.
And the experience. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, those things, again, all of that has been a byproduct of the relationships, of getting to know the people behind the companies, and being able to spend like an hour with Sebastian and to hear his heart and his passion for specialty coffee, to do those kind of things. That is like the best part of all this.
Do you find there's a bit of a disconnect of what's happening in cafes and baristas and what's happening with the home consumer?
I think, and
not in a negative way.
No. I think it was, that was the challenge of the shift in COVID, is everyone went to the homebrew.
Right.
And there was that fear of like, will they come back to the cafe? Like, if they have everything at home, do they need us? Do they want us? And I think that's where, so I'll give some love to Sought and Found. Ever since they began here in Calgary, I think they're one of the most genuine, hospitable cafe teams. just everything when you walk in, you just feel the love.
Yeah.
If cafes embrace that philosophy, they'll be fine. I think they will thrive in this space still. And that's where it really comes down to, like recognizing the value of each person that walks through that door. They are not just there for the caffeine hit. They are there for the experience still, because they could have made it at home. You can go to 8 Ounce and buy everything you need under the sun here in Calgary and be set. But you don't get that relationship of them saying, "Hi, Tyler," when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
Or the hospitality of articulating the origin story of the farmer and the producer and all of that when they sit down and give you your coffee.
Yeah, there's something about the hospitality that I find when you go to a cafe, if someone else is making it and they do a good job, it also just tastes better.
Yeah.
Versus me, because I know what I've done, and I'm like, I poured too much, or it wasn't a very good job.
Yeah, I'm so critical of myself, and I'm like, I'm such a loser. Like I should just mail this in and have people do it for me. And I think that is a big part. I mean, there is that kind of je ne sais quoi of having someone make this for you, and them commit their time and energy and effort into that craft. And I want to respect that, because they're in this for that. They're wanting to grow in knowledge. They're wanting to grow in experience, and being in that cafe setting is hopefully going to set them up for a career, like a future, like for the long haul in coffee. And that absolutely is a reality. And so it's not your entry level university job. It absolutely can be something that makes a career for you.
Yeah. Yeah, our industry's kind of working through that right now of how do we professionalize more aspects of our industry, and especially the role of the barista.
Totally.
Or competition, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep, absolutely.
We've seen the rise definitely in the last 5 years of the professional home brewer. The equipment is cheaper and more accessible than ever, but the quality is at the best it's ever been. With that in mind, how do we get, well, we kind of just talked about it, get people back into the cafe, but how do we bridge the gap, I guess, where what roasteries are doing to home brewers, it's more aligned instead of they're two separate entities?
Yeah. I mean, I think even stuff like this, what you're doing in bringing, your Rosso and all that it's achieved over the years, and your involvement in the coffee community, in the competition space, and then coming into this, you're really kind of embracing more of those mediums. You're trying to reach a larger demographic, and you're trying to, yes, we want to be able to, you want to have your coffee in your cafes, and they're, everywhere in the city. So you can't go, you don't have to go far to find a great coffee shop. You can find a Rosso, if you need one. And then, to be able to have accessibility to gear is great. And again, we're not suffering in Calgary having great, companies that offer, that. I think it really is. There's nothing wrong with, diversification and having a broader reach into all of those areas, because I think, again, what's behind that, and what I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what's behind that for you guys is, again, to connect with more people, to reach more people, and to grow, because this is still a very niche, industry. And there are many people who are still getting most of their coffee, from Costco, in 5 kg bags and storing it in their freezer. And that just sends chills down my spine. And I'm not trying to throw shade, but that is still more prevalent than an awareness of specialty coffee.
Yeah.
And so, we haven't hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
There is still so much more to go. We have not plateaued as an industry. I think we've barely even scratched the surface of what is out there. And the more that we do for education, the more that we do for stuff like content creation, the more that we do in the competition space or event experiences like AeroPress Championships, Canadian National Barista Competitions, all of that stuff helps to showcase the industry and what is there to people who are I tell people I've competed in AeroPress competitions. I'm what is that? There's competitions for coffee.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? And so you can't think that, we've plateaued or we've ceilinged out when there is so much more out there, so many more people out there who
so many people that are drinking just
Yeah.
regular coffee
Totally.
that we need to bring them in. And I think a lot of people see it as like a zero sum game, where it's not. It's like when we convert people from Starbucks or Tim Hortons or whatever brand you want to put there into specialty drinkers, it's not like they're only going to go with your brand A or B. It's like they're going to try all sorts of brands and hopefully align and stay with those.
And to not fear, like, hey, if you love dark roast, great. If it's a specialty coffee roaster that's providing a great dark roast coffee and you love that, then I love that you love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a big shift in the last few years as well, is a little less snobbery, a little less light roast is the right roast.
Yep.
And a little bit more of an awareness that, hey, if you offer, an approachable medium or a unique dark roast that is from a farmer who you have a relationship with, that you've paid and supported fairly, that you've developed a long-term kind of partnership with. I feel good at the end of the day knowing that.
Yeah.
Because that's the humanity of all of this again, and the relationship connection part.
Let's go to Rwanda.
Okay.
You were in Rwanda in 2024?
Yeah, last year. I'll be back again in September.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
What was that like? You went to coffee farms?
I did get to go to one. Yeah. So I wasn't there for specialty coffee. I was there on kind of a humanitarian kind of project with a number of different things with leadership development, and had a few people on our team who were nurses here at Foothills. And so we did some medical clinic work. But one of the areas that we were connecting into was a medical clinic that actually had a coffee farm on its property.
Okay.
And so it was this kind of symbiotic experience. So these nurses got to go for the work of that clinic, and then I selfishly got to lead our team through a 3-hour specialty coffee farming tour.
Wow.
The guy there was incredible. He knew his stuff, but English wasn't his first language. My Kenya Rwandan is terrible.
Okay,
but I am bilingual. I'm fluent in French, and French is their second language.
Yes.
And so it was really neat to have some connection with the locals in that sense. But Jean-Claude was there, and he walked us through the farm. And then I kind of took over at one point once he realized I knew a lot more than anyone realized. And so for 3 hours, I got to walk through my very first, coffee farm and experience it, pick the cherries. It was between seasons. So there's a few kind of outliers on the cherries still that weren't amazing, but they were still there. So we got to do it. But being in origin absolutely changed me. I think everyone has to experience it. At one point in their journey, you have to get to origin. You have to get to know the people who are there, to hear their stories, to see their heart for what they do. And it really does, it brings it full circle. It takes it from just, a local product in the store, in the cafe, to the origin of it. And that was just amazing.
What was the piece of information that you kind of like understood, or you didn't understand going there, that you understood leaving?
Man, I think all that goes into, from picking it to processing it and just watching it all happen. I've seen videos, I've seen content from people, but to actually look at this labor of love and to see all that goes in on that side before it gets bagged, before it gets put in a container and shipped over to wherever it's roasted. There is so much work that goes into getting us coffee. And I have so much more respect now for each cup that I drink, knowing what it took to get here. And you don't know that until you see it firsthand.
Yeah, there is a massive disconnect. You can see content. I remember the very first time we went to a farm, and we're in the industry for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And you see all this stuff, and then you physically, touch a cherry, or you pick cherries, or you walk the farm, and you realize like how steep, because everything's on mountains.
Oh yeah.
It just, we picked lots of, like, we were in Rwanda, we picked lots of cherries, and it's like, it's hard work.
Yep.
And people just don't understand. So
Not
when you're drinking that coffee, it's very easy to forget all that. It's not very good. Let's just get rid of it.
Right. Except someone's back-breaking labor climbing the hillsides of a remote farm is what brought us that. And so, to pay homage to that, to honor and respect that cup, and the people behind it. That's a story to tell.
And then trying to improve the quality.
Yeah.
It's like understanding that dynamic is very, very difficult.
And I think you and your team and many of the great roasters that I work with and connect with, their heart is for the farm, for the people, to see them find that joy in what they do, to grow better coffee, to innovate with new technologies or new processing methods and all of that, to become more excellent in their craft so that we on this side can enjoy just even more excellent coffee. And that's a win. Like, everyone benefits when the farm improves, when the processes and all of that get better. All of that improves, for everyone.
You're going back. Will you do another farm visit in September?
I don't know, but I am hoping to connect up with Emmanuel from Bajo Coffee.
Yeah.
The farm I was at last year actually looked up at one of his.
Okay.
And so that was really neat. And so at Expo in Houston this year, I shot him a DM. I'm like, "Are you here?" And
of course he is.
And of course he is. And so I had met him the year before, told him I was going to Rwanda. He says, "Oh, I'm so excited for you." So seeing one of his farms and then coming back to Houston, shooting him that message, like, "Are you here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm at my booth right now." It was like 15 minutes before opening. And I went there and dude just hugged me. It was just the warmest, most embrace. And we were there for like a half hour just reminiscing and sharing. And to have met him before, to then go to Rwanda, see one of his farms, and then to be able to see him again in person.
Wow.
Oh, it was the best. It was the coolest experience. And it's helped me again to recognize the importance of origin visits. It's as much for us as it is for them. I mean, and the relationship that has forged. And so when I'm back there, whether I get to a farm or not, I don't know yet, but I'm hoping to connect with him.
You got to go with him.
Yeah, go to his lab, go cupping.
Go to Bumbogo or
exactly. And so that's the hope, is if anything, I can cup coffees at his lab in Kigali.
Yeah.
And be able to have that opportunity, because that would just be so cool.
He's such a great guy. He's got a crazy story, life story, and the way he's built that business is very, very impressive.
It's amazing. It's so cool.
And he's at every expo.
Yeah, I know. That's why
he's always traveling.
Yep.
How are you doing it all? But he's got a great team.
He does. Yeah. It's definitely, it was the coolest thing to see him.
What's like the future state? Where do you see content, like coffee content creation, going? And then where are you going?
Yeah. I think, it's cool to see that there are still up and comers in this space. I think, I read a lot. Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers is a great book that talks about, people who were born at the right time in the right circumstances for kind of the right thing.
Right.
And that's so true, that sometimes your success in life is just the byproduct of when you were born and where you were born. And so there's incredible people in our world who have that, who are fortunate. I joke, like, I was doing this before, the pandemic. I'm like the grandpa in this space, older than like 10, 15 years older than some of these other people. But I think what's incredible to me is that there is still some incredible up and comers in this space. Exploration Coffee, he's out of the States. I can't remember where. But he just kind of popped onto the scene a year ago maybe. And it's just been remarkable to see that you can come into the scene and it's not like an elitist club. There is room for more. Because, like I said, we're barely scratching the surface.
Is there content we're missing? Is there someone who could be watching? And there's, gear reviews, there's coffee reviews, there's all these things. What's content that's missing that they could go and fill the gap in?
Man, I'll selfishly say, if someone wants to underwrite me traveling to coffee farms and filming content, I would absolutely do that. You don't have to convince me twice.
Okay. That's an underserved market.
There it is, right? But I think it is. It's expensive. That's a lot to go there. But I think I honestly believe that if there is one area of content that we have not yet really experienced in specialty, it is origin, and it is getting to share their stories. More than, a group of Canadian content creators talking about another grinder. Not a bad thing, but I really believe that is an underserved market. Daddy Got Coffee got to go to, I think, Guatemala with, I think it was Pilot, and got to go to a farm out there. And I remember him filming and sharing the whole story about that whole experience of getting to go, with a coffee company and to do some content creation.
Wow.
And I ate that up. I mean, I did not scrub 1 second on that video because it was just so fascinating to get to hear and see those stories. And so I think that is something. If people can connect with roasters who are going and it's, hey, you know what, the hotel's paid for, it's just one more seat on the plane or whatever, I think that could be an incredible thing for this side of, the continent, to learn a little bit more about and to get to know what really goes in, like I said, to
bring that story back. We don't always tell it like, we speak about it, but we don't always physically see it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that is an area that I would love to see more of. I think that would be a win for specialty coffee to be able to champion more of the local stories.
Okay, AeroPress.
AeroPress championships.
We go from the farm back. When did you do AeroPress?
Okay, I first got into AeroPress. I mean, I think I've had one since the dawn of creation. It feels like everyone has an AeroPress, or like 12. And so I really...
You got the OG one? It's clear?
I actually do.
We should put that on eBay. Let's sell that.
Nope. And that's the story. Okay, let me talk AeroPress competition, and I'll get to the story of that, because that in of itself, how I got that is crazy. I started AeroPress 2015, 2016 out in Invermere.
Okay.
And I had the chance to be able to go out. There was a coffee fest, and I was just visiting like Invermere with friends. And then I showed up at the coffee fest, and the team from Monogram were there with a pop-up, and they said, "Hey, Ty, we got gear. You should compete." And I'm like, "I'm not here for this. I'm just here to check it out." And like, "No, we've got everything. You should just enter. There's still spots." So I entered.
Sweet.
And I won the whole thing.
No way, really?
Yeah. I beat the mayor of Invermere in the final round and won the Invermere Regional in 2016. And that qualified me for the Canadian Nationals.
Mayor. I like how the mayor was competing.
I was blacklisted from Invermere on I'm never allowed to visit because I beat the mayor in his hometown on his turf. Anyways, shout out to Invermere. But yeah, I competed 2016 Canadian Nationals here. And that I was one of the only 2 home brewers to make it out of the qualifiers. I made it into the quarterfinals. I actually beat David Kim.
Oh, wow.
That's my claim to fame. And the only time I've ever beaten him, because now that man's an absolute legend. But I mean, the AeroPress, is just such an incredible brewer. And I loved it. I loved being a part of the competition scene. That is what really got me aware of there's a whole other side to that part of specialty coffee, which is what now has got me into doing like the MC work of the AeroPress qualifiers and Canadian national finalists and all that kind of stuff, because I just love that event and I love that kind of space of being able to...
It's so nice for the community to get together.
It is. I love it. And it's been so much fun to be on that side of it in competition,
and then MC too.
But now to be able to MC, and I mean, I can talk, so like it's not a problem for me to get up in front of people and just talk and talk and talk. But the story of the OG AeroPress, so we're over 20 years, 25 years, I think, since AeroPress came out. I think it's at least 20. And so I found one in Edmonton on Facebook Marketplace one day, and it was like $35, brand new, only been used twice. I find out all the original packaging. Everything is still wrapped in plastic, the box and everything is inside. It is the first edition OG AeroPress.
Wow.
And so we're driving to the mountains at this point, almost losing cell signal. My wife is DMing the person selling it saying, "We'll e-transfer you the money." It's in Edmonton. It's not even in Calgary. It's in Edmonton. We'll e-transfer you the money. Hold it. I'll be back home Saturday night. I'll drive up Sunday morning. And so we e-transferred the $35. This thing is probably worth 10 times that to any collector.
Right, yeah.
Right? This is the original AeroPress and all the parts. And so got home Saturday night, and Sunday morning I drove all the way to Edmonton, hung out with a bunch of cafes for the day, and I bought the OG AeroPress. And like I said, it is in mint condition.
It's like they gotta get the box and they... what do they call grading, right? Like
like PSA graded? Yeah, totally.
We got to do it for an AeroPress. Yeah. Someone's got to do that.
I don't know what it is actually worth. I mean, but I have, the whole thing. Everything is in its original contents and packaging.
You're willing to sell $500?
No.
1,000.
I also have 2 autographed by Alan Adler himself.
Really?
Yeah, I'm that much of a nerd in the AeroPress space.
Wow.
So I'm outing myself right now that I even have them autographed.
Do you have the XL or the glass one?
I do not have the glass one. I have an XL. I think I have every single one. I don't have the glass one though. That never happened. AeroPress, come on.
Yeah. 8 ounce, where are you at?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's probably the only one I don't have. I don't have a few of the colors maybe, but I have a 1st gen. I have a 2nd gen. I have a 3rd gen. All of the original ones I have in my collection, and I'm not selling them.
What's next for you? Content creation.
Yeah, for me now, I really have had some fun recently doing this. To me, these types of hosting, emceeing. I was in Canmore Eclipse for their AeroPress regional again. To me, that's the fun I'm having right now. Is this kind of stuff? I'll still collaborate with roasters every single month, and I've got 3 or 4 months worth already kind of in the pipeline for the next little bit for what'll come out. And so that will always be there. I always want to be able to kind of stay in that lane. But I think for me, less is more at this point. It's a crazy season personally for me right now with a lot of stuff going on, selling house, trying to find a house, all that kind of nuts stuff.
Right.
So there's less time in my life right now to just take pictures and content, but I will always intentionalize the people. And so if there's opportunity to be able to be a part of stuff, I will carve out as much time as needed like this, because I think these are the opportunities that I think for me are like the most life-giving.
It's so nice for you to give back to specialty coffee. Hosting, doing all the content, because we need more voices. We need more people talking positively about specialty coffee. And yes, we have lots of opportunities to work on, but you always frame it in such a great and positive light that, on behalf of myself,
thank you.
Not in specialty coffee, but it's you're just so happy to tell the stories of these roasters, because it's tough. If you're a micro roaster, it feels like you can't get that reach that maybe you have and shine the spotlight on them. And we really appreciate it. Okay, buddy, that's
thank you.
That's all we got.
That's good. It's been a great opportunity to be able to
Where can people find you online?
That's it. Okay, so Commonly Coffee. So commonlycoffee.com. That's my blog. At Commonly Coffee on Instagram is where most of my content hits these days. And so find me on there, and always happy to chat coffee. Whatever that looks like for you is what I'm all about. So find me there, and let's
send
connect.
this man a DM if you're getting into if you're getting into
please
content creation, what to do, how to do it. Reach out, because you'll always answer.
I will always reply. Absolutely, 100%.
And that's super important. So
thanks, bud.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.